Hi, everyone. I'm sorry you don't see the person you might have been expecting, so if you want to get up and leave, I won't take it personally. But I will today speak about healthcare, so anyone who's interested in the general healthcare market and digital health, please stay. So healthcare. Healthcare is a human right. But the unfortunate thing with human rights is that we're doing a pretty shitty job with fighting for those rights and keeping them up and preserving them with the attention a human right actually deserves. So let's take a look at healthcare and how we're doing there. Did you know that over 100 million Americans each year postpone healthcare because they frankly can't afford it? And did you know that the average wait time for a hip surgery in the UK is 100 days, over 3 months, and that's just the average? And sadly, in many Middle Eastern countries, sex reassignment surgery is illegal. So the number of cause for illness and death is not war, is not hunger, is not the lack of drugs or the lack of scientific progress. The number one cause for illness and death is the lack of access to real healthcare. What I mean by that is the lack of access to the right doctor at the right time at the right price. Can you believe that? We live in a world of globalization. We buy our cell phones from China. We get strawberries imported from Chile, and we buy our wine from Australia. We book tickets to New York and Beijing and Istanbul within a heartbeat. But healthcare markets don't really operate like real markets. The way people consume healthcare is not the way we normally consume other things. And there are many reasons for that. But one of the main reasons is that there's a disconnect between the main consumer of healthcare, which is us, the patient, and the one who actually pays for it, the spending power, which is many times the health insurance. Right? So what you actually see is that the main consumer of healthcare doesn't spend the money and therefore doesn't have the spending power. So what you can see is that there's a shift away from the patient, from us, towards the money. And in many cases, oftentimes, it's the health insurance. This becomes very clear when you look at how technology and digitalization has impacted many places in consumerism and in other aspects of life. And I'd like to point out 3 characteristics. Number 1, it's choice. No matter what you need, no matter whether it's shoes or a frying pan or books, you can find a huge portfolio of choice on the internet from any country you might be looking for. Number 2, immediacy. Within your fingertips, you can tap into the global selection of movies and DVDs and stream it right away. And while you do that, you can order your Chinese food to arrive within the next 25 minutes and eat it while you watch your movie. And everything happens now, in the right split second. Number 3, transparency. Who of us would ever buy something without knowing what you're getting? Every time we need something, we go onto the internet and we research the shit out of it. We look at reviews of other people, we compare prices, we compare features and all of that. And this is what has actually entered and taken over the way we consume things. It's choice, transparency, and immediacy. So let's take a look at how we're doing in healthcare with that. So choice and transparency often comes together. Let me ask you, when was the last time where you really, truly got to choose your doctor based on characteristics you were really interested in? Like, is this a good doctor? Has he done this before? How often? What was the outcome? Is this a nice person? Right? When do we ever get to ask those questions to choose the right doctor, let alone getting the answers for this? So choice and transparency is not really a thing right now in healthcare, still, nowhere in the world. So let's take a look at immediacy. How long does it take you to get a doctor's appointment? 1 day, 2 days? Lucky you. For many of us, it's 4 to 6 weeks. And again, that's just the average. The thing is, I'm sick now, and I need a doctor now. I don't have the time to wait 4 to 6 weeks to go see a doctor. Time is of the essence when it's about healthcare, and oftentimes we are unfortunately too slow. Our consumer behavior in healthcare, and that's the consequence of all that, is also dramatically different than our consumer behavior in many other aspects in life. When we go see a doctor, what do? We choose the doctor next door. We choose the doctor who actually takes us as a patient, right? And it's good for you. Good for you if you have a doctor you can go see next door. But what if there isn't one? What if there isn't the right doctor within your vicinity? What if there isn't the right doctor within your city or perhaps in your country? People do run out of options. So what if we would approach healthcare the way we approach many other aspects in life? What if I told you that healthcare doesn't really need to have borders? What if we could leverage technology and data and open up the global world of healthcare and really use the global potential of healthcare? What if we could create additional options for patients who have run out of options? Imagine a world where your dad, your mom, your sister, brother, best friends can get access to the right healthcare at the right time within the split of a second. I think this is a thought worth holding on to and worth fighting for. So I'd like to invite all of you to join me on a global movement to make the world a healthier and happier place. Thank you.
So let's see if we have any questions. We can pull them up on Slido, or if anybody hasn't uploaded them yet, we also have an amazing cube over here that we can throw your way. So depends. Can you type quickly, or are you brave? Any questions? Raise of hands. Oh, there's one.
Yeah, hi. So yes, I think it's a beautiful presentation. I agree with what you said, but it's still not very clear to me what's exactly what you do.
Oh, what I do?
Yeah.
I was told I'm not allowed to advertise what I do, so I kept it. No, so I'm a medical doctor, and I'm the founder of a company that's called Junomedical. And what we do is basically we open the world of healthcare. We offer patients the best doctors from all over the world. And this can be a doctor next door, but this can also be a doctor in a different country. So oftentimes people describe us as a medical tourism platform. I personally don't like the term medical tourism because I think that a lot of shady stuff comes with that. But basically this is what we do. You have a problem, you come to us, we will tell you based on data who the right doctor or what the right selection of doctors is for you.
We have a question on Slido. What are the steps already taken?
Many, but not enough. I think in healthcare is a very complex field. There are so many stakeholders. It's politics, it's health insurances, it's hospitals, it's doctors, and then there's patient, and then there are the pharma companies. So in the healthcare space, you have a very complex field of very, very strong stakeholders with very different pools of interest. So a lot of politicians try to do things by introducing digital health, electronic health records, for example, or health insurances try to digitalize things. The problem with all that often is that people forget about the patient. People don't ask, what does the patient actually want? And what will help the patient? And one big example is data, right? In my opinion, the patient should really own his own or her own healthcare data. And the patient should decide who should be able to see it and who the patient wants to give it to. But nobody really cares about that because everybody else wants to own the data. The pharma companies want to own the data. The health insurances want to own the data. the hospitals want to own the data. So it's very difficult, and I think a lot of people are trying to work around this, but as long as you don't put the patient into the center of the discussion, I don't think we will find good solutions.
So we have 2 more questions. Potentially easy one. How do doctors like the idea?
My idea, I guess. Depends. There are many doctors who do understand and who like it. We work with doctors. We work together with doctors. So we actually have to make doctors like our idea, and a lot of doctors who actually work with us understand the value add. Of course, there's a group of critical mass and skepticism with doctors as well, but I think at the same time, it's an opportunity for us to actually reach out with our hand and explain it to them. A lot of doctors are very skeptical because they think we destroy the market, we take away patients from them, we have no fucking clue what we're doing, but it's quite the contrary. And I think sometimes you need young and wild and fresh ideas to enter a market to just, offer an additional solution to what is already out there.
Another one. How can people start joining your movement today?
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. So many things we can do. I think number 1 is really becoming an empowered patient. All of us have a very strong voice, and we shouldn't give up by just listening what the doctor tells us or just following what the health insurance is telling us. I think all of us, we have the right to be informed. We have the right to own our data. So the next time you go to the doctor, don't walk out of the office with a feeling you didn't understand half of what's going on. Sit in there and ask all your questions until you understand. Next time you go to your doctor, demand getting your health data. You should be holding them. You should know what's going on with your data. And if there is a doctor or a health insurance who doesn't want to give this, really insist on that right. So that's one thing. Be your personal empowered, become an empowered patient by yourself and make people around you be empowered patients. Be informed. Number 2, come talk to me. And maybe we can find a way to work together.
Perfect. And then another question is, where do you get your data from to make decisions about distributions of doctors? Aren't there legal constraints?
Yeah. Not really. So it depends on what type of data you use. What we do is we source publicly available data from all the corners of the world, and we build our own algorithm with that. And it's almost like a machine learning thing where the more data you actually put into this, the better the algorithm works. So that's one source. The second source is we actually generate our own data because patients come and book with us, and we just know outcome, we can follow outcome, we can follow satisfaction data. And all that data gets also fed into our algorithm, and therefore the more people actually use our platform and the more people go through this, the better we will get in actually predicting outcome and quality.
And how does it work with people's current insurance?
So it depends. Insurance is a very fragmented space, and therefore there is unfortunately, no one single answer. But we do work with insurances, and oftentimes it's no different than whether you go through us or go to your doctor directly. We will make it work. In most of the cases, you will have to get pre-authorization by your insurance to get that certain treatment, and we will provide you with the paperwork to make this happen.
That's perfect. We're out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Another round of applause. Thank you.